Hello all, welcome to our channel. Today I will read you a story called The Bridegroom for Leela from Chandamama Kathalu. So let's get into the story. A poor couple had no child. They adopted an orphan girl and she grew up to be a beautiful maiden. She was named Leela. At a neighboring village lived a young man called Ravi. He was an able bodied farmer. He possessed an acre of land which he had turned into a fine orchard. He was prospering well. One day, Leela's father told her, "There is a young farmer named Ravi who should make a fine husband for you." "A mere farmer? Don't I deserve anything better, father?" grumbled Leela. "But Ravi is so nice." "I do not know a better young man than him," answered the father. "My friends say that I deserve the hand of a king or a general," said Leela. "That is a way of saying that you are beautiful, which no doubt is true. But I am old enough to tell you that one who marries a king or a general is not necessarily happy. Besides, a poor man that I am, I cannot find a king or a general for you," said the father. Leela was not satisfied with his father's explanation. She had grown quite ambitious. She was often heard making enquiries with her friends about the possibility of her getting married to a rich or influential young man. But her friends did not seem to be of such help. It was a summer noon and the village streets were quiet. Leela sat alone on the veranda of her house, brooding over her future. Suddenly, she heard the sound of a string of horses galloping. She went out into the street to see what was happening. One of the captains of the king's army was going on an urgent business accompanied by some soldiers. The captain pulled the rein and stopped his horse when he saw the maiden. He said that he was thirsty. At his request, Leela fetched a mug of water for him. The captain, on enquiry, learned that she was not married. "Why not marry me?" he ventured to propose. "Why not, if my father agrees?" said Leela. "I wanted to marry a king or a general, but a captain would do." The captain met Leela's father and expressed his desire to take the girl with him. The father found out that Leela was quite eager to go with him. "You may take her away if you promise to duly marry her," the father said. The captain promised and made Leela sit behind him and galloped on. It so happened that on the way the captain met his boss, the king's general. Now, while on an urgent mission, a captain was not expected to carry a maiden with himself. The discovery could cost him his position. The captain, who knew well the general's nature, got off his horse and bowing to him said, "This maiden desired to marry a king or a general. That is why I thought it was wise to bring her to your notice." "Hmm," uttered the general gravely and surveying the girl, said, "I don't mind marrying her. Put her on my horse." Leela was transferred from the captain's horse to the general's, but they had not gone far when they came across the king quite unexpectedly. "Who is this maiden, general?" enquired the king. Leela was delighted to see the king. She hopped down from the horse and greeted him. "My lord, she desired to marry a king. I thought I better carry her to your presence," mumbled out the nervous general. Thank you. Let her come with us. We will see what can be done about her desire, said the king. A palanquin and four bearers were brought from the village at hand. Leela sat in the palanquin and followed the king's party. The king was on his way to inspect an old and dilapidated temple which he wanted to repair. He soon arrived at the deserted temple and entered it. There was a large stone image in the temple, but worship of the deity had stopped for a long time. After the king's servants cleaned the image, the king stood before it with folded hands for a while. Leela now realized that though the general was greater than the captain and the king was greater than the general, the image was greater than the king. She decided to follow the king no more, but to marry the deity and remain in the temple. When the king prepared to leave for his palace, Leela said, "Kindly allow me to be here. I have decided to look upon the deity as my husband and lord." The king was moved by the maiden's words. He thought that she was a genuine devotee. He said, "If you feel like dedicating yourself to the deity, I have no right to claim you as my bride. Do as your wish. I will soon send a few maid servants to attend on you and enough provision for your comfortable living." The place became deserted again after the king's party left. Leela was in the temple when a dog entered it. Since nobody visited the ruined temple, the dog had been accustomed to frequent it. As Leela looked on with the surprise, the dog climbed to the head of the image and settled on a snug rest. "This dog seems to be a greater than the deity," said Leela to herself, and when after an hour the dog went out of the temple and she followed it. The dog once looked back at her. She said, "I know how great you are. I should have married only you if you were a human being." It was evening. The dog reached its master's house. "Where have you gone away, you wretched creature?" shouted the young master, and he planted a soft kick on his bed. The dog licked its master's feet. "Here is yet great human being," Leela said to herself. She advanced at the young man and said, "Will you kindly accept me as your wife?" The young man looked with amazement for a second and then said in a loving tone, "I have already given word to your father, haven't I, Leela? What doubt is there that I will be glad to marry you?" Leela recognized the young man now. He was Ravi, the farmer. They were soon married to the happiness of Leela's father, to the greater happiness of Ravi, and to the greatest happiness of Leela, for she had discovered that Ravi was greater than the king.